Hi friends, it's Gwen. Today I'm gonna do my long-awaited December wrap-up. It's probably not really long-awaited, but I have been a slacker on filming it, and I really wasn't planning on filming it because I didn't think I really read a lot in December. But last night I was talking on Twitter, so you should follow me on Twitter. And I was realizing that I read 5 books in December, which is a lot better than I thought that I did. So I figured I might as well wrap it up for you guys. Let's do this. The first book that I read in December was Vivian Divine is Dead by Lauren Sabel, and I actually got this book for free. It was sent to me by the publisher and the author from winning the Book Skull contest. I've talked about that contest before, but it was basically where you make a sugar skull based off of a book, and I did Landline by Myracle, and I was randomly selected and I won, so I got sent the book. Now, I really wanted to love this book. As you can see, the cover is absolutely beautiful. The reds and the font and just the colors, and I mean, I just love the colors, and I even got this little thing on the inside. I really did want to enjoy this book. I wanted to give it 5 out of 5 stars, but I just couldn't. The character development, well, basically what it's about is about a girl that her mother is dead, and she's a movie star actress, and she lives with her dad, and she has a couple of friends, but she gets like a threat against her life, like, oh, we're gonna kill you the same way we killed your mom. So she ends up leaving and going to Mexico during, you know, the near Days of the Dead and stuff like that. And her bodyguard tells her to meet up with so-and-so and they'll take care of her. Well, along the way, she ends up meeting a boy named Nick, and he kind of like helps her navigate her way through Mexico. And long story short, and this is going to contain some spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, I would mute or something like that. Her mother's not dead, and she ends up falling in love with Nick, like insta-love, and the only parts that I really liked were the little bits woven in about Days of the Dead, but I do have a full review on my Goodreads, and I did want to read you a little bit of that. It'll give you like a better idea. Really think I should have left it unrated, but I went with 3 stars for this book. The development is one thing the story is lacking. The characters, the setting, the plot all become a jumbled mess with too many over descriptive parts, followed by forced dialogue and confusing changes. And that is like one thing I've noticed lately, is that I've read a couple of books where there is just over description, and to me there's a fine line about being descriptive and just being like, throw adjectives on the page, and that's kind of what this book felt like. And I've read another book in December that kind of felt that way as well. I said things that the book did right: obviously the cover art and the original story idea, the unexpected plot twists, because there are a couple. Like I said, her mom's alive, so things I did not like: the forced dialogue, lack of character development, insta-love, and the ending. And while the book keeps you guessing until the very end, the theories that you'll come up with yourself as a reader are so much better than what actually happens. And then also the relationships between the characters needed something more. Basically, they'll say, character A is related to character B, and that's it, and it doesn't really give you a sense of the characters or how they're related or how they feel about each other. You just automatically have to assume, oh, they're boyfriend, girlfriend. So overall, the book feels like a rough draft version of a much bigger, better story. So I gave it 3 stars because it did have some good things going for it, and it just could have been better. Now that I'm like reflecting back, maybe it should have been 2 stars. I don't know. I used my normal rating system, so I went with that. So when I rated it, I gave it 3 stars. There you go, 3 stars for Vivian Divine is Dead by Lauren Sabel. The next book that I ended up reading, I was hoping that the Novel Bunch, we actually picked this book originally for the Novel Bunch, but then we ended up changing it because issues about getting a book, and that's always a bummer. But we decided at first to read My True Love Gave to Me, edited by Stephanie Perkins, and the authors are Harley Black, Ellie Carter, Matt De La Pena, Gail Foreman, Jenny Han, David Leviathan, Kelly Link, Myra McIntyre, Stephanie Perkins, Wimber Rao, Lainey Taylor, and Kristen White. And it's so interesting because I hadn't heard a lot of these authors before. Prior to reading this, I've only read Holly Black, David Leviathan. I read Will Grayson, so he was like part of that. Rainbow Rao and Lainey Taylor. But since that time, I've read books by the other authors or have bought books by the other authors, so there's that. But basically, this is 12 holiday stories. Everybody and their mother has talked about this book. Some of them, of course, you will end up liking better than others, just depending on what style of writing, character development that you enjoy. Nights by Rainbow Rao, The Lady and the Fox by Kelly Link. I didn't really get it, and yeah. Angels in the Snow, Polaris is Where You'll Find Me, It's a Yuletide Miracle, Charlie Brown, Your Temporary Santa, and then the one by Holly Black, I can't even say the name, it's Krampulosloth or something. What the Hell Have You Done, Sophie Roth, Beer Buckets and Baby Jesus, Welcome to Christmas, California, Star of Bethlehem, and The Girl Who Woke the Dreamer, which, sorry, Lainey Taylor, I didn't get it. I didn't rate this book just because I would have had to break it down for 12 different stories, and I was just #lazy. Yeah. So that was the second book that I read. So then on to the book that the Novel Bunch did actually end up reading for the month of December, and that was Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Myracle. And I felt so silly not being able to say her name before because it's obviously Myracle. But anyway, I already did a little bit of a review / book talk, wrap up, Novel Bunch with this book. I thought it was cute. I loved the stories. It was 3 holiday romance stories, so there are love interesty stories, romancy stories, all 3 of them. I ended up liking the first one the best, and I believe that was Maureen Johnson. It feels like forever since I've read it. Yeah, Maureen Johnson wrote The Jubilee Express. That was my favorite. John Green wrote A Cheertastic Christmas Miracle, and Laura Myracle wrote The Patron Saint of Pigs. And yeah, I just liked the first story the best. I felt like even though it was a short story and there was a romance involved, it didn't feel like insta-love, so I liked that. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, none of them were really insta-love, so thumbs up for that. I ended up giving Let It Snow 4 stars, so that's awesome. Yay. The next book that I read is another 3-star rating from me, and that is Winterspell by LeGrand. And I really wanted to love this book. I saw it all over Twitter, all over Instagram, every social media site possible. I saw this book, and it is absolutely gorgeous. You really can't tell, but well, maybe you can a little bit, but it's super metallic-y. The cover is to die for. The idea behind the book of it being a loose retelling of the Nutcracker just sold me, and I bought it brand new at Barnes & Noble, paying full price, and then I read it in December. Like, I saved it for December, and it had, to me, maybe it's just been too long since I've read or seen or anything the Nutcracker. This book had nothing to do with the Nutcracker. So I don't know where it got that rap. I know inspired by the Nutcracker, but I didn't see that at all. So if you go into this book thinking that you're gonna get a loose retelling of the Nutcracker, don't think that, because I think you'll enjoy the story better. I did give it 3 stars, which I'm kind of shocked about, but I do have a Goodreads review on this, so I'll link that down below. But I really wanted to love this book. I bought it so I could read it this month. I heard rumors that it was a loose retelling of the Nutcracker. I entered countless giveaways to win a copy, but in the end I ended up buying it at Barnes & Noble. Again, keep in mind that I really wanted to love this book. Okay, so first I want to say, if you go into this thinking it's a loose Nutcracker retelling, you're gonna be disappointed. It's been a while since I've seen the Nutcracker, and I've never seen it live, but I did not recognize hardly any elements other than the look locks, the LOKS, which are like the mice, and the prints, and of course the names. Until page 156, I really struggled. Until page 156, I was going to put it down. I was just going to put it down because I was like, I can't believe I'm reading past page 100, because I heard Heather from Bookables talk about if she gets to a book and it's page 100 and she isn't invested, then she puts it down because there's so many other books to read. So I kind of adopted that strategy a little bit, but then I broke it with this book because I was like, no, it's supposed to be amazing. People love this book. What am I missing? So I kept going, and until page 156, I could have thrown this book in the trash. Reading, and it wasn't a total waste. I just wouldn't recommend it. There's so many other books out there to read during Christmas time, and there may even be, there's just so many other books to read. And I would just skip the 156 page, or we'll start on page 156 and read it. You'll have a much better experience. But after that, it was quite a page turner. The story kept me captivated, and I was curious what would happen next. The story's plot was all over the place, and the setting, even with the map, was confusing at times. It felt like it was trying to be part fantasy and part dystopian, but it didn't work. And you can read my other thoughts on it down below, but I will show the beautiful map, which, like I said, even though it had the map, I was confused when they were talking about certain places, like, where are we on this map? I don't know. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but if you skip to page 156 and just start from there, you might actually enjoy it. The last book that I read in December, I read it on December 31st, right before New Year's Eve, the New Year's Day, I guess I should say, like before the clock struck midnight. Anyway, I have a full review on my channel, and I will link that down below. But that book is The Organic Artist by Neddo, and oh, I loved it. It wasn't a typical novelty type book, but it was more, if you're into art and you like being organic with your art and making your own materials, this is kind of like a step-by-step tutorial and different recipes, as he calls them, to make your own materials and supplies and make beautiful art with them. He has great illustrations in the book. The photos are amazing. Yeah, I talk a bunch about it in that video, obviously, because I did a review, so I'm going to link it down below. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. If you're into art, being organic, going more green, I highly recommend you pick it up. Those are the 5 books that I read in December. I've been watching all of your videos, so most of you have already filmed them, edited them, and upload them, but that's what I'm going to try to do this morning. I hope you have a great day. I hope that January is a better reading month than December, and I'll see you next time. Bye!